Let's start with what Ukrainian troops have accomplished over the last 10, 11 days. What do we know and how significant is it?
Well, this is a major change in the narrative and the course of the war. They've taken a small but significant piece of territory inside Russia. The immediate response from the Kremlin was that they would take it back quickly, but that hasn't been the case. And now it looks like the Ukrainian troops, at least in Kursk Oblast, are settling in for a longer occupation of that area.
What happens next? I think that's probably the biggest question that I see swirling out there. What more is the Ukrainian army capable of here?
Well, that's a question we don't know the answer to, but clearly they took the Russians by surprise and they were able to grab some territory, but it's going to be much harder to move farther into Russia as the Russians realize what's going on and start moving their troops, both from within Russia and potentially from the Ukrainian battle line over to Kursk and Belgorod and respond. It looks like the fighting in Belgorod has been much more serious, and they've been able to block the Ukrainian advance on that part of the border. So it looks like this battle is being engaged by the Russians, but it's going to be very difficult for them to dislodge the Ukrainians who are there right now.
You used the word surprise. It was a surprise to Russia. How much of a surprise was this to the broader international community, specifically the US?
Mm-hmm. Well, my sense, I don't have any inside knowledge of what goes on, but my sense was that it was a big surprise to everybody. The Ukrainians planned this on their own, and they kept it quite secret, even secret from the Russians who could see across the border and presumably would have a sense of what's happening there if their intelligence were working the way it should be. So I think the Ukrainians are an independent country. The U.S. is obviously supporting them, but they are free to make up their own minds and decisions on how best to fight this war. And I think the U.S. is going to support them because this is the only way to block the Russian advances into Ukrainian territory and to cut the supply lines that the Russians need to continue those advances. So this move seems to make a lot of sense. At least from this initial stage, everything is a risk in a war, but this seems like a risk that was worth taking.